Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the summary for the day of 931 for the 1st of September. And we have some major updates. I seem to be saying this almost every single day. There is major updates, particularly over at the Kursk Front, where there is some intel drop regarding the northern flank, which I have mentioned. The northern sector has been like inside the fog of war because we do not know what the hell is happening. There's no geolocations, no reports of fighting, and we finally have some intel drop coming from the Ukrainian side. And there's also continued developments over on the Russian offensives, and there are also seemingly new offensive that is currently happening. So we're going to go into the Kursk Front first. So you can see the major updates coming in the northern sectors. So let's go into the western flank first. Over the western flank, the Ukrainians continue to be striking Russian pontoon crossings across the river. What's the river called? I forgot. Reka Sim. So and the this time around, the pontoon crossing over at this Zvanoe has been destroyed. Previously there was crossings being built around here as well. So over at the western flank, Russian forces continue to put pressure. This time around there is attack on Godievka, Panasovka, Snagos, Veshnevka, and the Ukrainians continue to push for Komarovka. Well, it's important to know all these red arrows may not be necessarily ground offensive. It could be just very intense FPV drone strikes, fire attacks from artillery, maybe armored vehicles, who knows. So just take it with a pinch of salt when I draw these red arrows, because if these red arrows are true, the Ukrainians can't possibly just go for Komarovka. They will be too busy defending themselves as well. Russians are also shelling the rear positions at Obukovka, Lyubimovka, as well as Novoivanovka. So at least these two are for the operating positions for the Ukrainians to launch attacks in these regions. So Novoivanovka probably is something to do with the Kulenkoye direction, this unrelated to this part. So this is the strategic situation over this part of the front line in Kursk, or Kursk. And moving into the this northern flank. And this northern flank, so we now put Karenevo into the northern flank because we have always this problem about Malaya Lognea. So let's just put this all together into the northern sector. So in the northern fronts of the Kursk front, the Ukrainians are still attacking Karenevo. They're attacking Golfka. Russians have retaken the line over at Topino based on the latest updates from the Ukrainian side, and it looks like the attack towards Alexandrovka is coming from the south rather than coming from the east, which I previously thought should be the case. Previously, I thought that they come from the Zurafli, Skrilevka direction. I thought they came from this direction, but it doesn't seem to be the case. So what happened is that it's coming from the south, or it could be that previously they come from the east and then now they reinforce from the south because they just have full control over the countryside. And the Russians have fully retaken the entire salient, or the entire breakthrough from the Ukrainians up to Safanovka. Russian forces secured Safanovka, Obiki, Koledes. They are also secured all the way to Skrilevka. And this entire region here is now retaken by the Russian forces, reforming the firm line up to Sheptukovka to Kauchuk and Anastasievka. So the Russians also close up this attempted breakthrough. So these are all now clearly Russian lines. The region of Zurafli is still unclear. This is still considered gray zone on the Ukrainian mapping. In fact, most of these areas are all gray zone on the Ukrainian mapping. Russian forces also resecured Kromsky Biki, and they have secured all the way on the western part of Isakovka and Ivitsa. So these are all the highway region that is now firmly under Russian control, including Novosilovka. So the Ukrainians may or may not still be at this region here where they previously have gathered a big force. at Levchinska, Semenovka. They used to have gathered a force here, but now there is no guarantee that they are there anymore because these are all now rated as gray zone by the Ukrainian mapping. So and then Ukrainians continue their attack in Kremyannoe. So which means that the Russians are still around here. So the line looks a bit like this. The Ukrainians are also attacking Pogrebki. As per last information, they're attacking coming from the west. There's also attack over Orlovka and Kulenkoe. So that means there must be some kind of a Russian line around this area here, including Malaya Lognia. However, according to the Ukrainian mapping, they claim that they have taken Malaya Lognia. They claim they have taken Malaya Lognia and all these positions in Pogrebki and Orlovka. So that is the huge difference in terms of the perception of the reality. So we shall have to continue to wait for more information whether the Ukrainians indeed have captured Malaya Lognia, because I think this is a very firm and strong forward position for the Russians for a long time. So the fall of Malaya Lognia would be pretty disastrous. And then Russians also shelled Novo-Ivanovka and Lyubimovka, as mentioned previously. This was the other part where we mentioned earlier just now. And the Ukrainians also, so this is the line where they perceive themselves to have taken. They have also taken a bit more grounds in the region of Nedenov, or the northwest of Ruskoe-Porosnoye, where the Russians are putting pressure on the Ukrainians. The Ukrainians are attacking towards Neshiev, as well as another town over here. We will go into that later. So this is the strategic picture of the northern flank that we have been asking for a long time. We have been waiting for this intel drop for a long time. So this is the entire picture right now. So there are still quite some major differences between the Russian and the Ukrainian mapping. For those that are new to this channel, this is two maps, Russian map and Ukrainian map. The blue is the Ukrainian map. The pink one is the Russian map. It's two different mapping overlapping on each other. It's not one map. So it's very important to note, which is why the map looks so dirty, so confusing, because the two sides have very different realities. So this is the northern flank. And this is for thumbnail. Okay, so okay, so we go on to the eastern flank. So on the eastern flank, ignoring the Malaya Lognia, Ukrainian forces are attacking towards Nizhnyanya, Paroyaya, and Neshiev. So they're attacking in these directions. Well, of course, they have mentioned they have captured this, and they have already claimed that they have taken Malaya Lognia and whatnot. The Russians are still putting pressure on Ukrainians over at Ruskoe-Porosnoye and Cherskoe-Porosnoye, which means that the front line looks a bit like this. This tactical heading all the way to Bolshoi-Suraskoye unlikely to be existing. Russians likely to have control over Krylik. There is Russian pressure on Ukrainians over at Martinovka. Ukrainian forces allegedly sent reinforcement over into the Martinovka region. So reinforcement has arrived in this region. So I think they are trying to do a new attack around here. Russian forces are attacking Ivashkovsky. Most likely it's probably just shelling. I don't think this is just shelling. I don't think this is an active attack. Shelling was reported over at Lebedevka, and the Russians are also putting pressure on Ukrainians over at Mihailovka. So the Ukrainian lines are pretty clear at this moment at this eastern flank. And this this reinforcement coming to Martinovka might suggest that the Ukrainians may want to try another time, probably break through into the countryside, or they'll go down the highway again. Of course, going down the highway will be a death trap. I think it's too obvious a place, and it's easy for FPV drones and suicide drones to attack. So anyway, this is the situation over in this eastern flank, the strategic situation. I hope this is a bit clear as I can go for now. Over in the southern flank of this Kursk Front, Kursk Front, I cannot zoom in. I don't think I can zoom in. So this region here is the simplest. Ukrainian forces have captured Komokovka. I think this one I should put it into light blue, so not so confusing. So this was already mentioned yesterday, where the Ukrainians have already taken this line at Komokov, sorry. And then the Russians are still putting pressure on the Ukrainians over at Plekovo as well as Borki. This Plekovo is most likely just shelling reports. I don't think these are active attack. Borki probably more active in terms of ground forces. But It's very simple. There's nothing really much happening around here already. Just really the Russians trying to push out the Ukrainians, but the Ukrainians are deciding to stay here for now. So that's all for the fronts. The fronts inside Kursk. Probably I'll clip this out, you know, for a main channel. For those that are only interested in Kursk. There is further shelling reports around this region. There's shelling reports in the Sumy region. Let me see, how should I zoom this in? Okay, well, over at Bodi, and then this one is Prishev Trefnia, Yunakivka, as well as Sumy. So these are the Sumy ones. This is probably some logistic or operating position in the north. These forces here is probably related to the to this potential offensive towards Glushkovo. So Ukrainian forces at the border region may be ready to push in when they're called upon. So this is possible. They are still trying to push in from the east, which I have people complain that I have been telling people about this for a long time, but it never happens. So, and the other force is supposed to hit from Tekino to Glushkovo in the pincer attack. So, which is below Pilia and Boyaro Lizachi continue to get shelled by the Russian side, confirming Ukrainian presence around these regions. But tentatively, it looks like the Ukrainians still have not found this this sweet spot where they are confident about an offensive and they know that they can achieve the offensive. They still are trying to weaken the lines on the Russians. They are trying to blow up all the pontoon crossings. They are trying to weaken the Russian positions around here. But it seems like they still have not reached what they want, particularly the failure to break out from the 10Y October or Panasovka or Komarovka region. The inability for the Ukrainians to break through from these areas probably led to this delay in the operation. This is what I think. Over in this tri-sector, in the Sumy Bryansk Kursk tri-border, there is a continued shelling around here. Shelling was reported at Olivka, Svetsa, as well as Glushkiv, but this time around is a bit further from the previous shelling from the border. There is a geolocation of a Lancet hitting radar in Dolena or near Dolena, so that's interesting. And so we shall continue to monitor the situation. The Russian Ministry of Defense in yesterday's report, or is it a video? They still claim about hitting more HIMARS. So I'm not sure. The number of HIMARS getting destroyed is getting a bit stupid. So over at the Kharkiv front,